All right, guys, welcome to episode 17 of Aussies Taking Over the NBA podcast. We are today doing a bit of a Boomers wrap and also a bit of a kind of reaction to the massive brawl with Australia and the Philippines, which we'll be commenting on in the next little bit. We'll also kind of wrap up the first 2 days of the Summer League.
Yep.
We've had two Aussies in action. One Aussie, unfortunately, has had no action in Xavier Cooks, but Jock's been playing pretty well, so we're going to wrap up Jock. And we'll get into the first game, which was Australia versus Japan. Two of the NBA stars were in that team. That was Della Vadova and Thon Maker. And we lost.
Yeah. It was a decent game, not a bad game. Della Vadova looked pretty
raw.
Yeah, he looked like he was still sort of getting match fitness back. Struggled shooting the ball. I think he had 2 of 11, so he had 4 points. So yeah, he really struggled. They were passing all right. The guys looked like they'd just sort of started playing together a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, this kind of Boomers team had just recently had a run through the Commonwealth Games and won. I think adding Delhi and Thon to the mix maybe threw a couple of spanners in the works in terms of who was running the point. I think Delhi's not had a lot of game time over the last little bit, and it did show in his shooting ability, but his distribution of the ball was pretty good. Chris Golding, for my mind, was a standout. He was excellent. Thon Maker was really, really good.
Yeah, that big dunk.
That big dunk was amazing.
That was fantastic.
It was
great.
worth the whole game just watching that.
Yeah, a great way to announce yourself on the international stage.
It was massive, and he played every bit as well for Australia. I think he actually enjoyed wearing the green and gold.
Yeah,
and was really instrumental in, I suppose, the defensive line. Again, we didn't have a strong center, and that showed because they had Fazekas, who is a American national who is now a naturalized Japanese.
Yeah.
And that was his first game playing for Japan.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
they hadn't played throughout any of the qualifiers. Same as Hachimura.
Oh, yeah, Rui Hachimura.
Hachimura, yeah. He was fantastic. He's a college player in the States, but he was really, really good. On song, first quarter. Went a little bit cold second half. But Fazekas, for my mind, is simply the strangest basketballer I've ever seen. The guy looks like he was suffering from polio in the 50s and decided that basketball was a good thing to pick up. And he's like knock-kneed, walking down the court, struggling to run, and then just, kind of flicks it in. And everyone was just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? How is he actually scoring?
Yeah, he had the outside shot going in the third quarter, and, he was hitting those shots. But I think Rui Hachimura was the standout talent for them. I think he had 8 from 9 in the first quarter.
Yeah, his ability to get to the basket is extremely good.
Yeah,
got some good post moves and some good dribble tactics.
And we struggled, I think, defensively because, Thon Maker's not a natural defensive center that plays all-round center. He's more of a shot blocker.
Yeah, and they were switching on weaker men. Like Daniel Kickett got really exploited that game by Fazekas. It was like 3 times he was just on his ass.
Yeah, he hit the floor 3 times.
3 times looking for a charge and non-existent charging foul.
Yeah.
And Fazekas was just having his way with him. So they were struggling to stop him from scoring.
And Kevin Leash played 12 minutes. He only took 1 shot. I looked a little bit tentative. I think, he's
coming back from a season off.
With that calf injury for the Kings.
He's coming back from injury. Down low, I really do think the depth of the Boomers is missing that center. In that game, you could see that we were missing a center that could play on Fazekas.
Yeah.
And be a strong kind of defensive option.
Yep.
I think we're really, really blessed with some good local guards, some good shooters. Chris Golding, for my mind, is, he's had 2 terrific games.
Yeah.
Very, very good from beyond the arc. But they were switching onto the weaker players. And Dan Kicker, for my mind, is a 35-year-old who defensively is probably not the best, and not as quick as he once was, but still a good shooter. But you can't switch on to a guy like Fazekas who's got 30 or 40 kilos on you.
Yeah.
And he's just going to post up and back you down and score, which he did throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
I think Australia was probably unlucky towards the end. Some 50-50 calls didn't go their way.
Yeah.
And they could have won the game about 3 times, but some terrible shooting, that weak shot.
Nicholas Kay. I ended up looking up the box score. He played 23 minutes. He took 19 shots. And it didn't even feel like
Yeah.
He did anything
Well, look,
in the game.
statistically speaking, the Australians just shot woefully.
Yeah.
Like in any kind of night where they're shooting at least 10% better, then they would have easily, comfortably won that game.
Yeah, so Goulding 5 from 8. He shot 62.5% from 3. Thornmaker, he had 4 from 9 from the field. But yeah, Nicholas Kay taking 19 shots, 4 from 19, Kickett 4 from 11, and then delivered over 2 for 11.
You're not going to win games.
Yeah,
no matter what.
poor.
If you got guys taking shots and they're not dropping, you're not going to win games. The last minute, I kind of think the refs just like, oh yeah, the Japanese won. Let's not like play it down. There was a couple of points where they quite clearly fouled and let the play roll on.
Yeah,
And different rules to NBA. I think FIBA rules are much more liberal. They're not. They're not in that last 2-minute stretch. There's not reviews and let's look at this. They're just like fuck it, let's get the game playing. Whoever wins wins. We're not going to call ridiculous things out of it if it's going against the flow of the game. So different rules. I think that. I think Thon probably this is the first FIBA rule styles that Thon's played.
Yeah.
And couple of things that he probably got picked up for a travel once that he may not have got picked up for in the NBA.
Yeah.
And a couple other little things. But yeah, all in my mind it was an interesting game, good to watch.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And Australia were well through anyway. And that led us to Monday night's extravaganza of the Philippines playing Australia in the Philippines. And
that was crazy.
Well, let's just start with the game firstly. Australia was dominating so badly. I mean, the Philippines just had nothing. Goulding was on fire. Dellavedova was dishing out to everyone. Kay was playing well. Thon was playing well. They were all there were 31 points up 2 or 3 minutes into the third quarter. So there was no way the Philippines were coming back. And then getting very chippy.
Yeah.
There was definitely a few stray elbows off the ball that you could see on TV from the Philippines on Goulding and Kickett.
Yeah.
And Goulding goes down pretty softly. Again, a bit of a play up.
Yeah. I think
he's playing up the offensive foul. It's quite clearly an offensive foul.
The jump in on that sort of, he tried to screen. I think Goulding tried to screen the Filipino player, and he kind of jumped into him. Like there's no need to be jumping like into somebody that high. Like his arms were pretty high, and Goulding went down. But then obviously Kickett steps in and gives him a like, nah, you're not doing that to someone like.
The foul itself was pretty. There was no raised elbows. It was body on body, and a guy went down.
Yeah.
What Kickett? He probably should get the most out of a ban.
Yeah, there was nothing.
There was nothing in that, and an elbow to a head is going to inflate.
Yeah,
everybody.
for sure.
Especially when you're on home turf in front of 25, 30,000 screaming Filipinos. You might push. I could see coming over and pushing and maybe a bit of a scrub. Handbags of 50 papers. But he fucking elbowed him straight in the jaw.
Real stiff forearm.
Yeah, it was
style.
a stiff forearm to the jaw, and that kicked things off.
Yeah, I think that was probably what led to the emptying of the bench. The Filipino bench emptied pretty much straight at Kickett. He was on that side as well.
Yeah.
And there was really no need for that. I mean, I thought the original foul on Goulding, or the original contact on Goulding, was a bit unusual and a little bit.
It wasn't aggressive. It was kind of chest bumping.
He was flailing a bit. He was kind of jumping.
Yeah.
I thought the retaliation, like on a game basis, retaliating for something stupid like that, I could understand. But then just throwing a forearm like that.
It's a dog elbow coming in from the side.
Yeah.
And it just not in the name of the sport at all.
Not a good look either.
Not a good look. And the Filipinos had every right in their mind to go after Kickett. If they want to have a punch up, players on the field. No one coming off the bench, but all the players on the field. If there's a brawl because of what he did, that's fair enough. What was fucking disgusting were the officials, the security guards, and the coaches pinning players down and kicking and stomping their heads.
Yeah, it was a bit unnecessary.
I mean, Goulding was getting the shit kicked out of him.
Chairs were being thrown. I think coming off the bench is always
Look, even the players, like that's their teammates. They want to do something. Come in and pull a couple of players off, settle the thing down. That's fair enough.
But they
Coming and throwing dog punches from behind
Yeah.
is worse than the original act. That's I think Romeo threw a punch to the back of Thonmaker's head.
Yeah, that was right before he ran off and tried to fly kick him.
Yeah, look.
And fair enough too. Like if someone comes in and throws...
if someone comes and does that, you kind of give him a warning, and then he moved away and he didn't do anything again.
Yeah.
I don't think Thonmaker should be punished. Jalen Rose and they were on this morning. They're just talking shit. Like they got no idea. They're not in the moment. Thon kind of jumps into the crowd, doesn't knee anyone, doesn't kick anyone, doesn't make contact with anyone, doesn't throw a punch. And they want NBA sanctions. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous. He will get the sanctions appropriated by the FIBA ruling, and he will miss out on Boomers games. It's nothing to do with the NBA.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it was something that he was really sort of starting, and his actions weren't really prominent to the entire brawl.
No, he didn't throw a punch. He didn't land a kick. He jumped into a pile to get people off.
Yeah.
And then someone tried to punch him in the head, and he turned around and ran towards them.
Yeah.
And kind of tried to push kick them away. It was the kick was lower than the guy's knee.
Yeah, it was a bit sort of low, sort of
it's
thigh
a low,
height.
like, I know what you've just done, fuck off kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's someone who would like to get in and have a presence too. Like it didn't feel like I'm attacking someone. It felt like I'm using my presence here to get people away, because after he threw that kick, he sort of started standing there, like making sure to space people out, like don't go near this type of thing. So it was good to see him show some passion and some fight. I mean, and then straight away after acknowledging, look, in the heat of the moment, I was protecting my players, I was standing up for my guys. A really intelligent response saying, hey, I take responsibility for my actions.
Yeah.
Things were kicking off. It was the heat of the moment. I come from a war-torn country. It shows them obviously,
it shows a mature mentality.
It shows a level of wanting to accept responsibility at the very least and say, hey, I put my hand up, I did the wrong thing, things were happening, and I look at that more and go, I really respect him for sticking up for his teammates in his second game, like really getting in there and getting into it for his teammates. So, obviously either side's going to look at it differently. Filipinos are going to be upset. Australians are going to be upset.
Look, and the Filipinos, I think, have every right to be upset. And you know what? If it's a brawl with players,
just the players,
the players, that's fair enough. But the coaches get involved.
Yeah,
it didn't help that the Filipino coach told the players to go and smash the Aussies before the third quarter. They were down like 30 points. They were getting hammered.
I think it was 31 they were down by.
Go and smash the Aussies. So something was about to kick off.
Yeah. And
then to come out afterwards and say during the warm-up the Aussies were elbowing their players. They're nowhere near each other.
Yeah.
They're on other sides of the court. Like, this just shows a stupid mentality of not owning your decision to get involved. And not owning your decision that your players took and your officiators to actually actively participate in a fight.
Yeah.
And
I think
for my minds, I don't think the Philippines should host another FIBA game. That's it. They're done their dash.
They're hosting the World Cup, I think, in 2024.
That's fine. That gives them a whole bunch of years to get ready for that. But they should not host another FIBA qualifier, especially if they're playing Australia again. That's just, it's not on.
It was that emptying of the bench though that really escalated the entire thing, and the crowd.
The security guards were throwing fucking chairs.
Yeah, it was a bit out there.
Chris Goulding's getting his head stopped on. Lucky Luke Longley came over.
Yeah.
7'2" of Man Mountain, just like threw all these small Filipinos off.
And I think Delhi on the bench, I mean, the NBA mentality would be, they'd be groomed to make sure they don't go on the court. Because you kind of rarely see a really big all-in brawl. Like, you see the handbags, you see like some fisticuffs, and two people might get involved in a spat.
Yeah.
And, there's some hold me back type stuff. But yeah, to run on the court like that, I thought it was good to see Delhi sort of, hold these guys back and make sure they didn't run on the court.
And I think the Australian officials did the right thing. They held them all back and said, stay out of it. For my mind, I think that it would have, I don't know what the situation would have got worse, but the fact of the matter is that two Australians were king hit.
Yeah.
Goulding was stomped on. He was headlocked and punched.
Yeah.
And chairs were thrown at him by officials, by the assistant coach. And then to come out and, he got ejected.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous because he didn't throw a punch. He was trying to get in there and get them off, kick it. And then he got ejected. And it was just farcical in the end, the fact that 9 Filipinos got ejected and they continue to play. Like, it's just... Andre Blatch as well. He it's a good thing he's a naturalized Filipino because his punching effort was horrible.
Well, it's the heat of the moment. I mean, you can't really once the line has been crossed and an all-in brawl sort of erupts.
Yeah, okay, all-in brawl.
Everyone's sort of culpable, and everyone looks like an idiot, and nobody wants to see that happen.
You're all
in the
adults.
game.
You come back after the brawl. The coaches everything's settled down. You're back at your benches, and then you start taking selfies.
Yeah, that was
just tasteless. Just if they're not candid, the largest suspension in FIBA history as a nation. It's not a just thing. They should have 3 players. There was 3 players that did all right. They didn't get involved in it, and good on them. But the rest of the team should be handed with Kickett. I don't think anyone else in the Australian team did anything worth being suspended.
Personally, I don't
think so. Kickett should be handed the harshest sentence as well. That elbow was dog. I'm sorry, it was fucked.
Yeah, that wasn't necessary. And I mean, even Thon's action, like you said, Jalen Rose and those guys. They make a living on hyping up certain things, and especially like a video of an NBA player doing something like that completely out of the context of what's happening in the game. I mean, if you just saw Thon go into a crowd like that, throwing himself in there, throwing kicks, I mean, it looks bad. But, he didn't start any of it. He wasn't the main factor in any of it.
Besides the fact, it was like 20 on 3 people by this stage.
But those NBA analysts, they love to just talk things up and make things really big and really wind it up. So I don't think he should face any NBA
No, he shouldn't
sanctions.
face any NBA sanctions at all. I think he came out quickly enough and apologized and, set things right for him,
The whole thing was just such a... Like, I woke up and someone had sent a text to me.
I was watching it live. I was just like, this is farcical. 2, the referees had no control over the game from the beginning. That just shows you how poor the level of refereeing.
Was there much security around?
There was tons of security, but
they kind of got into it.
They got into it.
Yeah,
they're just like, fuck it, we'll start hitting these guys. I mean, some of the security guards didn't. A lot did. What was the scary bit was when the crowd started to run in.
Yeah,
anything can happen in that country.
Yeah,
you got a lunatic Duterte telling you to kill drug dealers. That's the mentality of the person running their country. You can understand maybe if these guys get a little bit hype and want to go run in and start belting guys with bins and things, which were thrown, same as chairs.
Yeah. Just that shot on the baseline of the chair just flying into someone. I was like, oh, it's a bad look. There's no winners and losers out of any of that. It's just...
No.
It's
a sad
unnecessary.
Day. Yeah, it's a sad day for basketball.
Such a bad look for basketball. It's really bad. A bad look.
It really is. And it's a bad look for a country that potentially is hosting the next World Cup after Japan.
Yeah.
And a country that is basketball's their primary sport. That's their number one sport.
Mm. So yeah, no, I was just a bit.
Yeah, watching it live, I was just but very, very chippy game beforehand. Referees not taking control of the situation, I think. Poor refereeing and not ejecting players probably earlier in the match for unnecessary contact.
Yeah.
And it ended in an all-in brawl. But
back on the game. So Goulding, you said, was playing well. He had 6 of 8. 4 from 5 for 3. Solid.
Yeah, solid.
Thormaker 3 from 6. He hit 1 from 3. 1 from 2 from 3. Delhi, he had 4 assists. He had 8 assists in the Japan game, so only 4 assists here. Did he look a little bit fit? I didn't actually see that.
Yeah, he looked. The distribution, like it was definitely a lot of pass to assists. So it was going through his hands a lot. Played well, defended really well.
Yeah.
Pinched a few times, I think.
Because I think that Japan was so quick. Like they were, even though they weren't strong and technically they had two players that played really well technically. The rest of them was just so quick, running
very quick,
Australia
very
around.
easy to switch.
Yeah,
switching on plays, not knowing where to go, and that really opened the door for Fazekas and Hachimura to move into positions where they had mismatches. I think that was the genius of the Japanese coach it was the mismatch. It was the misdirection. In this game, there was no misdirection. The Philippines were in foul trouble very early on.
Yeah.
Their big center, Fajibas or something.
Fazekas? No, Fajitas.
No.
Fiado,
that's it. He had 4 fouls into the second quarter, and he was kind of their big man and playing pretty well, backing down well.
He ended up with 5 fouls, finishing the game.
Yeah, he fouled out. I mean, he was one of the ones that didn't get involved in the scuffle, and fouled out when they started playing again, which was a bit comical. But look, the Aussies played really well. They topped their group, 1 loss. They take 5 wins into the next round. Round 2, they're playing the likes of Iran, Qatar, solid nations.
Yeah.
We probably won't see the NBA stars coming back unless they're in trouble. I think if they were in trouble, I think you'd see the likes of potentially the Thon and the Delhis of the world.
Yep.
And
I think it was good for them to just get a run out because
Thonmaker... you hadn't played a lot.
Delhi was coming back with that injury and the calf injury. And Thonmaker is only young too, and I think he really wanted to get in and start playing games for Australia as well, and really start to sort of.
But it's exciting because, I mean, even the NBL players, they're good players, man.
Yeah,
they're quality. Goulding is surprisingly a good shooter.
Yeah,
excellent quality, and very exciting about the kind of the tournament, FIBA tournament next year, and going into the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. I think that
Goulding's 29, so any place for.
Oh, he's at Melbourne United now.
Yeah, Melbourne United.
Good player, definitely. Good shooter, good spot up shooter. Exactly what we needed, actually. That's probably the one thing that we've been lacking as a second backup to like an Ingles or is a good spot up shooter or a Mills.
Because I think we've got a couple of good centers, a couple of good NBA centers in Bogut and Baynes, and then Thonmaker who can play power forward and also play center if they want to go small, and he can shoot from the perimeter. I think Kickett probably doesn't make the squad.
No, K doesn't make the squad.
Baynes are back, and then you got a Mills.
Well, you got you guys like Jonah Bolden, who potentially is coming through as a power forward as well.
Yeah,
excellent long limbs.
I wonder if he'll make the squad for the World Cup.
I think he probably won't make the squad for the World Cup. I think he needs another 12 months to start cooking in the NBA.
Yeah.
Get a bit of time back in the NBA. But definitely 2020 Tokyo. And look, we've got Exum. And some exciting news with Exum. He just signed a 3-year deal with the Jazz worth $33 million.
Yeah.
So we're a bit worried about that, but that seems to be doing well. They seem to put faith in him.
Yeah, definitely.
He's been in the 4 years in the NBA and he's only 22. So
he had an ACL injury and a shoulder injury. And I think he only played 14 games last year before he came back in the finals.
And had a good run for someone who's not played.
Yeah, played well against Houston. Showed some good defense against Houston. Added another string to his bow. So, and I think that's a good reward for him because obviously
he's had an injury plagued career so far.
I'm not sure if you could really reward what he's done, but obviously they've seen enough in him to just sort of give him a deal and throw him in there and continue to see what he can do, because I think he's a talented player and I think he's going to fit in their system. They drafted Grayson Allen, another shooter. I think there's room for him to handle the ball as well as, look to score while he's off the ball.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be shooting many threes this season and maybe not as much mid-range, but having Grayson Allen on the floor and having Ricky Rubio and Donovan Mitchell to take the pressure, to take the ball handling pressure off of Exum.
Yeah, he can just focus on scoring, which is he's a defensive and scoring option, which is exactly what you want. Maybe not, his ball security isn't something that has been great of late, but again, a string of games would be good to see what he is made of. But again, he will make that Aussie squad, I think, for next year.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think he's a player that we need, someone who's very quick off the step, putting the ball on the floor, getting to the rim, especially with a player like Bogut, who's a very smart off the ball and very good ball handler at the elbow. I think, dribble handoffs and creating space in the lane for Exum, I think it'll be important next year if Exum's fit. Hopefully they all get to that World Cup.
They'll all be at the World Cup. Actually, it's funny. This is probably going to be for the NBA guys the most hectic 2 years of their lives because they go off 82 game seasons.
Yep.
They play the FIBA World Cup.
Yep.
They then go to an 82 game season plus playoffs, and then they play the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics.
So they're not going to have the next 2 years. This is why I think a lot of the NBA players weren't playing in this. This is their last summer really to have off for 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Ben Simmons, declaring for Australia as well, we're going to have a solid team to take us into that FIBA
gold
World Cup, and will take us to the gold medal. I think
Hopefully.
that we're a top 3 team with the talent we have on
definitely.
the floor at the moment. Easily top 3 team, if not top 2.
Mm.
I don't see Spain. I see Spain as an aging country.
Yeah. They still got the talent. I mean, the craft to.
They've got the craft, but I see them as an aging. with the Gasol brothers, Rubio. They're an aging country.
There's a couple of good Northern European teams. Got some good talent coming through, like Jokic and Nurkic, and
some
a couple of guys drafted as well.
I just don't think they have the depth the Australia does. Well, no other country has the representation in the NBA like the Australians do. So I think that's the amount that are playing in the Premier League. It's good to see, and that's why we kind of wanted to wrap up these 2 games. But other news as well: Celtics re-signed Baynes, 2 years, $11 million deal.
Yeah, that's good for him too.
Good, so he'll be there. We'll be talking. There was a lot of talk of Dwight Howard and other centers potentially going there. I think they've made the right decision. Stick with what you have. You're going to have a fantastic pack on the floor with Kyrie and Hayward getting back to full.
And he'll have the opportunity to mentor Williams coming through as well. I think it's always better for an older player to not necessarily play less games, but the games you do play have an ability to bring young guys through. I mean, if they didn't have another backup center, a young center that they drafted, there would be less of an incentive for him to sort of stay there because, obviously Williams is going to take 2 or 3 years to develop. He was a 2-year deal they signed, or was it a 1 year? So it was a 2-year deal?
2 year. I'm not sure what the options are. It could be an option for
which is good for him. I mean, it keeps him secure for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And, who knows what kind of season he has this season. I mean, when they're healthy with Hayward back and Kyrie Irving back. They were also in the mix to sign Boogie Cousins as well on the minimum.
I can't believe he turned down $18 million a season at New Orleans.
Did they? I thought they pulled the offer, didn't they?
They didn't pull the offer. No, that's what he turned down.
Well, you pretty much guaranteed a shot at a ring if you go to the Warriors.
I'll take the money.
You're
a 1 year ring. Yeah.
A 1 year ring chase, and then you can just go somewhere else and get a lot of money.
I think to his detriment, that will be the end of his money making.
Who knows how that Achilles is as well, coming back off that Achilles injury.
I would take the $36 million knowing that your body is probably not the best, you're injury prone, and, because he offered the $5.3 million to the Lakers, and the Lakers said no.
Yeah, I think Boston offered that as well. They said no to Boston as well. But if you want a ring, now's the best time to go to the Warriors.
The Western Conference is just stupid. Like it's just
so stacked
OP compared to things. But I mean, it's great for Philly and Boston. I think it's going to be a Philly and Boston conference final this year.
I do think LeBron was probably right to get out now. Now that I think the Celtics are going to be pretty scary if Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward stay fit.
Yes.
And I think Philly's going to be pretty scary as well this season, especially if they pick up Kawhi. Which who knows if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a.
I'm kind of happy that they didn't take LeBron, or they didn't try aggressively to get LeBron.
They just picked up Tyson Chandler from the Nuggets.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, as a backup center, which I think is not a bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Well, they didn't trade. The trade was they took the salary rather than a player, so they got a first round pick and Tyson Chandler for free.
That's not too bad.
Just so the Denver Nuggets went under the luxury tax.
Oh, the luxury tax, yeah. Because I think they just
Steelers
signed.
got fuckloads of cap space. They're not paying anything. They just re-signed Reddick for $12 million. He was on
Yeah.
22 last season, so obviously they've and he had the best season of his career.
Yeah, he was
and he's
fantastic.
taken $8 million cut. So
And that's all about enjoying your basketball too. Like
it's
making
enjoying,
sure
but
you
that's
enjoy it.
that's posturing for Leonard.
I think so
that's
too.
posturing for Leonard. They are desperate to, my mind. He's not worth Saric and Covington. He's one and
Nah, I
all
don't
plus
think so.
picks. A direct swap for Saric or Covington plus picks. Yeah, that's a good trade, but
I wouldn't
Spurs want 2 plus 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, it's a bit.
And he's only got 1 year left on his contract, and he wants to go to the Lakers. So are you going to, is it all or nothing for 1 year, a 1 year grab, and you're going to get rid of?
It's all going a bit all over the place. It's all going pear shaped. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said to you, the Warriors basically have done the perfect way to build your squad,
Yeah.
which is draft 4 All-Stars, and then draft 3 All-Stars, add 1 All-Star, and then now they're adding another All-Star that's kind of a left behind player, and everyone's still giving them shit about it.
Yeah, I know.
They're doing it the right way, quote unquote, but no one's ever going to be happy. Like, you've just got to support your team and just be happy with what your team's doing, and who cares about what other people think now?
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's perfect moves. It's moves that no one else has got. I mean, they've probably got another 2 seasons until Clay wants max.
Yeah.
Well, he'll go. I
Yeah,
definitely
I
think
think
he'll go. Durant will go as well. I think that.
I don't know how long this style of basketball can keep up to. It's very intensive basketball. Like it's not an easy sort of. We've got one player who does everything, and everyone else is a role player who can stay fresh and just play their role. Every single player has an intense part of that whole system. So I wonder how long they can keep going, stay healthy, stay mentally prepared.
Well, look, this season they all were injured at some point in this season for long stretches, and they still won. So I mean, you just got a great team, you got great talent, you're gonna win, and you keep stacking with better players.
It's
like you get rid of McGee and you pick up Boogie Cousins.
Yeah,
that is a move that no other team is going to be able to pull off with that lineup.
It's mainly, I think, a lot of people don't really understand just how good defensively they are too, how smart they are. How cohesive they are,
and how deep their bench is. Like Livingston is not a bad. They've got good deep bench. I think Bell was a good pickup last year.
Yeah, that was great. Cash considerations, $3.5 million. Very good, savvy veterans. Oh, horrible, but man, $5 million mid level. You just let's have a crack at that. Who cares? Yeah. And he was so bad that who cares? He got a ring and he was terrible. Who cares?
Yeah.
So I just think teams aren't every team's looking for a shortcut, and there aren't many shortcuts against this team at all.
No,
you can't shortcut this team. I mean, LeBron did a couple of seasons ago, but even then it was 3 and 4. You know what I mean?
To shortcut this team. Look, the Rockets nearly did it. They took them to 7. They weren't quite as good because they had potentially the coldest streak.
Yeah.
Well, they did have the coldest streak in NBA history.
But how much of that, they played a short rotation. How much of that was heavy minutes during the season, heavy minutes in the finals?
Yeah.
And if you look at the Warriors rotations, Curry always sits, Durant always sits, and they stagger those two. Whereas you look at other teams, and other teams are like, no, I play here. And I play here, and the coach goes, okay, you play there and play there. And you look at Harden, man. Harden looked gassed in those last 2 games.
And I think that with the pushing out of Ariza by Chris Paul's Supermax extension, they've weakened their team for this season.
Maybe a little bit. I
think Ariza is a good wing kind of scoring option.
Good defender, but he kind of went missing in that series. I mean, in those last 2 games, he kind of struggled.
Missing in that series.
I just think that the things that normal fans don't really see are the defensive, like the real defensive schemes, the defensive intelligence, and sort of building your entire structure out of the defensive intelligence. I don't think we've really seen that for about 10 years. Probably since the Pistons, I reckon, late early 2000s, where a defensive juggernaut, like absolute beast defensive team, maybe they had less scoring and they had less sort of ability to score, but
Yeah.
really I think goes under the radar that this team, like you can't cheat with this team.
No.
And I think Houston sort of cheated a little bit with Chris Paul and Harden. You know, I don't like the flopping and trying to draw fouls all the time. It's like karma's going to get you in the end, man.
Yeah.
Just play the game. Like,
Yeah.
stop trying to draw fouls.
I
Stop
think
flopping.
LeBron got cheated out of MVP.
Yeah,
from
I
my
think
mind
so as well.
I mean, it's LeBron, yes. I don't know how he got less votes than Harden. Harden had a good start to the season, but again, LeBron, you look at the stats, almost double the amount of assists, double the amount of rebounds, more points, more games.
Made to the finals too.
Took a nothing team to the finals.
Yeah.
Like, Harden couldn't do it. So, for my mind, not MVP.
But I still think they've got to fix that award, man. They've tried to tinker with the award a little bit. They've tried to sort of move it to the end of the season, and they've tried to bring it forward and maybe slip it in. But they've got to do something about that MVP award. They've got to maybe take 3 or 4 days off at the end of the season, have an awards night, announce all the awards, and maybe do the playoffs and have another set of awards after the playoffs for the playoffs. Because like nobody cared. Even like Westbrook's last year, like Golden State wins everything, Westbrook gets MVP, and everyone's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Nobody cares anymore.
No, well, the MVP for me is just a contract negotiation. Like
I think
anything.
so
It's
too,
just
yeah.
it's like, I'm a former MVP. Here's my one endorsements from Nike or whatever.
Yeah.
That probably gets a boost or whatever they're with, and then they can go and negotiate back with their clubs.
Well, it is part of their contracting stuff, like making the All-NBA team. It affects your salary, so like your inclusions and stuff like that. So, but, you know, we're getting a bit off topic.
We are. We should move on to the two games, or actually the 2 days that have been. Jock Landau's played in both days for the Hawks.
Yeah,
and
I thought he looked good. I watched the highlights of that Memphis game, and
strong,
solid.
Loves
to run.
Yeah,
it's good.
He's got some good ball handling skills. A couple of pinches. Strong on the offensive boards.
Yeah,
he's big.
And put the ball on the floor a couple of times.
He's put on size off season, I think.
Yeah, and can pass too. Like a couple of nice dishes, and you know it looks pretty solid. Maybe a little bit shy of the quality, just shy of that NBA quality. But
yeah, I think maybe 2 or 3 seasons in the G League might do him a world of good.
If he could pick up a 2-way deal somewhere, or even G League deal. I think he could make his way into the NBA. I think he's got the smarts. He's got the talent.
Work with the right coaches. Build your post moves. Build somewhat of a mid-range game.
I think he's got the physical ability and the mentality too. Because the way he played, I felt he looked really hungry. For work and hungry to impress. And maybe a little too eager, which is you know nobody can fault somebody for being a little bit too eager.
Rebounds hard. Strong off the boards, strong offensively, boxes out really well. That's something I really noticed. He was actively boxing out every play, which is a very good factor for a center.
Yeah, coming off the bench, 9 rebounds. That was the highest rebounds in the game. He got that assist really early on in the game against Memphis. 3 from 6 from the field, not too bad. He got blocked to the rim, I think. A couple of little stone hands moments. Where he dropped the ball in the lane, but there's
nerves.
Nerves, things that you tidy up. I still think he has the right mentality to and the appetite to work to make himself better.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to not lose sight of the ball. Like he's got to not drop the ball. You got to stay ready, stay mentally sort of sharp. And I really think he can make it, into the NBA in the next couple of seasons. They played the Spurs today. I didn't actually see any of that game today. Spurs won 103-81. And just reading the box score, Landau, 18 minutes, 2 of 7 from the field. That's not great. He hit a 3, 1 of 2 from 3. It's not too bad. 8 rebounds and 1 turnover, 3 fouls. Trae Young hasn't looked...
Oh, he has looked woeful.
Yeah, not great.
I think that might be...
He looks like...
We were talking him up big time because in his college he was... I don't know if it's nerves or what it is, but
I watched
dishing shots for no reason.
Well, I watched some of that college footage, and I sort of took a note of how little he used screens to shoot, and then I started sort of thinking, "Oh, that's interesting. He doesn't really like to shoot coming off a screen." And then in the NBA, you're really going to struggle to put up shots with NBA players if you can't use the screen and
Yes.
get past someone and put up a shot. So I wonder if that's a little bit, maybe a little bit.
He's a bit of a knockdown shooter.
And he looks a bit raw, and a bit sort of rushed and fast. But, he might come good. He might just be getting the cobwebs out.
Yeah.
And, Xavier Cooks.
He won't get a game, unfortunately.
I don't think he's going to get a game. It's a shame. I do want to see him play, but I think their G League, their Summer League team is basically made up of Jordan Bell, from the rookie from last year, who wanted more minutes just to keep his keep his athleticism going and his fitness going. Damian Jones, who's also playing for a contract and who's sort of been in and out of the mix as a rookie, sort of coming up. He's really looking for minutes, and the rest of the guys are really hungry sort of outside chances. So I don't think Cooks is going to get a look in.
Yeah.
I think if he was good enough to get his chance on the floor and take it,
he'd do well.
Well, the reward he'd get from that would be very big.
He might get a couple of trash minutes next game or two, but I don't think he's going to play any big
The other part of that too, there's probably about 5 or 6 players. I mean, Jacob Evans, the rookie they just drafted. Nunn is another player they've just signed, looking for the 2-way contract. There's some sort of franchise political stuff going on there where they're using this to really hone the guys that they want, as opposed to just use the entire array of players and give everyone a go type of thing. I think they've got their set 6 and are going to use their set 6 as much as they possibly can to get them ready.
They are starting up a G League team this year as well, I believe.
Who's that?
Warriors.
Well, they got Santa Cruz Warriors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they did last year, but they won it a couple of years ago, Santa Cruz Warriors, when Seth Curry was playing for them. So it's a shame. I thought it was a good move anyway. Go in and get some of that culture for sure. I mean,
go and train with the boys, do that kind of stuff.
Great experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he would go from here, whether, if he's not going to get any minutes.
He's probably not going to get a J League contract. He'll probably end up in Europe or back in the NBL.
So, but I think he's a talented player, and I would have liked to have seen him. I think this system's probably the best system with his length and his intelligence and his ability to cut, put the ball on the floor. He's quite long. He could finish. But obviously the Warriors have got their sort of what they're trying to do. Yeah, what they're trying to do with their franchise.
There's very little room for growth in that.
And so we've got Mitch Creek, Duop Reef playing for the Mavericks. They're going to play against Phoenix. So Emmett Na's playing for the Phoenix Suns. I think that's the 7th.
Yeah, Saturday's the big day.
Yeah. That's where all the other teams start playing.
All the other teams start playing. I think tomorrow there's a couple other pre-warm-up, and then all the teams start playing Saturday. The tournament starts, and that'll run into late next week. And we'll probably come and talk about it late this week, and then do a wrap-up.
Yep.
Mid next week, and then that'll be us for a little while.
Yeah, we can start working on some season previews for all of these guys.
Yeah,
when all the trade chips have fallen
to September.
I think what are we looking at? 11 or 12 players now, I think, going into that season.
Yeah. Well, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah. So we don't have any other Boomers coverage. We don't have anything else.
The round 2 starts in September.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 games September, 2 games December, 2 games February. So we'll bring you those as they kind of happened, and
but yeah, I think we'll be working on those Summer League stuff, bringing in coverage of the Summer League, and then working on some season previews for next year. Some of our Aussies next year. There's a lot of good talent there.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good.
All right, guys.
All right.
Peace out.
All right, take it easy, peeps.
Bye.
Peeps.
Bye.
Peeps.
Bye.